What would you do if you found something you were not supposed to? Would you stay quiet or would you share it on the internet? This is the dilemma that Kane Pixels used to start his latest series, The Oldest View. This new series takes us on a chilling story about a vlogger exploring an abandoned mall with something watching him. If you haven't already, I strongly recommend watching this mesmerizing short horror film. Also, this isn't the whole story, but rather only a part of the current story, as Kane Pixels is still working on the backrooms. In this video, we'll unravel the intricate lore and storyline of The Oldest View and explore the intriguing theories that surround this haunting cinematic masterpiece. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the depths of this mysterious story. The story starts with a man picking a white flower from the landscape. This man is viewed as monochromatic, only being in black and white. We see the surroundings having color full of green. The man makes his way around the forestry area before he takes a break on a fallen tree, pulling out what seems to be a journal, as the area goes dark. We see in the next clip someone is working on something as we see drawings of what appears to be faces. The camera zooms out to reveal a cardboard face that was just created. Alright, so far the story starts with giving us some cryptid information, and nothing is clear so far. It's not until the next video until we get some real information. In this video, we see the introduction to Wyatt, as he seems to be a vlogger going to film at a park on private property. Wyatt claims to have found a secret tunnel in this property. Wyatt arrives at the mysterious hole just under a big oak tree, showing his audience his discovery. This hole seems to be a staircase going down to something. The lights in the tunnel are still working, causing Wyatt to come to the conclusion that something must be going on down the tunnel. Wyatt makes his way to the end of the staircase to just be met with another series of stairs. Eventually, the lights end, forcing Wyatt to continue his adventure in darkness. At the end of the staircase, there is this old wooden, rustic, beaten-down door surrounded by tiled walls. Opening the door reveals an old shower maybe, with the tiles on the wall turning brown with age. You can hear music playing in the background, sounding like elevator music. Wyatt continues, greeted by two white desks. Going further, Wyatt sees through the window of the store what seems to be a shopping mall. The second video ends with Wyatt deciding that was enough for the video, telling his audience he will come back. Wyatt, the vlogger we have been following, opens the next video telling the audience he set up trail cameras he got from a previous professor.
Trail cameras from my old botany professor.
One around the mysterious hole, and the other inside the hole pointing down at the staircase. The cameras didn't catch anything other than a wandering deer. Wyatt goes back to the hole, ready to record his second video, going back down the hole. Wyatt notices some of the lights are out, but ignores it. As he continues down the staircase, Wyatt tells his audience as he makes his way down his theories of its origin as he restates the smell of freshly cut grass.
It smells like cut grass smell that I mentioned. It's like a cornfield kind of smell. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
Walking through the door, Wyatt notes that this time there is no music being played. Opening the metal gate, Wyatt lets the gate slip from his hands, making an extremely loud noise, forcing him to retreat. After a couple of seconds, he continues on his path. Wyatt then focuses on an art gallery ad. This is actually a real ad. In fact, the setting of this video is a real place, called the Valley View Mall, which was shut down in Dallas, Texas, and recently has been demolished. Wyatt jokes, stating that he feels like he is in the backrooms, a funny nod to Kane Pixels' previous series.
The backrooms from TikTok.
Wyatt again comes across another real ad, this time for the Dallas Mall. Again strange, but we will cover it later. Wyatt, while walking through the mall, mentions the numerous Texas references and the many signs about Dallas. Wyatt seems quite confused over this, most likely meaning he doesn't actually live in Texas. Wyatt then comes across another ad, this time about an art project, with an invitation to the opening reception on June 19th. As Wyatt continues to walk through the mall, he comes across the artwork in the previous ad. This is also a real artwork called the Julien statue, made by Kevin Obregon. Wyatt freaks out as lights turn on along with the strange music from before. Wyatt then swiftly runs back to the entrance, attempting to leave this creepy mall. As he crawls through the rusted gate ready to run up the stairs to leave, Wyatt is met with a terrifying sight. The staircase has collapsed, leaving Wyatt with no exit. With nowhere to go, Wyatt is forced to go back to the mall and continue exploring. Wyatt comes across more artwork on a display case. One looks like the statue from earlier, and another says Parade of Giants, which is most likely symbolism of the giant statue. The last artwork is a portrait of a man with a beard. At the end of the hallway, Wyatt comes across another exit that is clearly blocked off with nowhere to go. Above the door reads, "Exit to Preston Road." But with nowhere to go, Wyatt is forced to find another way. Wyatt goes back towards the lit area to find another path to take, but just then the lights start to go out in the distant hallway, right before hearing rolling noises in another direction. Wyatt looks over to see the giant statue from before. Confused by this, Wyatt walks over to investigate it, but is nowhere to be found. Wyatt eventually finds a mall map, which leads him down another path. Wyatt then sees a possible opening near a children's play area, which appears to be an outside area, but before investigating further, Wyatt hears rather strange sounds coming from behind him. Wyatt goes to investigate where he just came from, hearing a noise behind him. Wyatt turns around to the terrifying sight of the giant statue yet again. Wyatt walks away from it as the statue tries to follow him through the mall. As the statue speeds up, Wyatt runs up an escalator, trying to run from it before it turns around and rolls back in another direction. Wyatt, now in desperation to get out of this mall, runs down yet another hallway just to get cut off by a dead end. With nowhere to go, Wyatt busts down a door and runs through the back of the store. Wyatt finds his way to a strange area that has lots of artwork on the walls with loads of documents on the tables. In this area, there are loads of hidden things that we will talk about later. Wyatt finds documents that should show him an exit. Wyatt leaves this area through a back door which leads him to this. This area of the mall is completely overgrown with plants and trees. You can again see signs for the giant statue. As Wyatt continues, it is clear this is the same area from before by seeing the AMC sign again. Wyatt manages to get to the top of the ramp before looking back to see the giant riding up on the escalator. Walls fall down before Wyatt tries to ask what the strange statue wants.
What do you want?
The lights flicker to reveal a strange sight on the floor. We will talk about this later as well. Lost for words, Wyatt is there in a standoff with the statue before the statue rolls full speed towards Wyatt, managing to barely dodge the attack. I'm now going to let you watch the rest of the video for those who haven't seen it. So far in this story, things are just not adding up. Mainly, why is there a mall nearly a mile underground? Why is there a staircase leading to this? And how does the mall still have electricity? But for now, nothing is super clear. So to answer these questions, let's look at some theories. The giant is a dryad. Assuming most of you don't know what a dryad is, it's basically a spirit of a tree in Greek mythology. The giant fuses both artificial and natural, combined by the human-made construction while still having flowers for hands. The giant appears to have control of the mall, causing lights to flicker, walls to fall, and escalators to move when they didn't work before, and debatably causing the cave-in of the stairs and collapse of the concrete support. Not to mention the strange fact that the mall exists beneath a large tree, and the maps in the back room of a tree map that might have been used to cut down trees, and the recurring smell of freshly cut grass. So what is the rolling giant? It is the forest that existed before the coming of the mall. The giant is a dryad. The forest was mutilated and torn down tree by tree for the construction of the mall, driving this dryad insane. The view in the title, Oldest View, is referring to the Valley View Center Mall in Dallas that I mentioned earlier. Wyatt physically traverses the mall's history, seeing many different views from its vibrant beginning to its decay and eventual destruction. But what is the oldest view? It's the woodland that existed before. It had been there for thousands of years before humans came. Dryads are a spirit of nature that is bound to and guards a location, usually a sacred grove or large tree. Often they are physically indistinguishable from the locations they guard. When the mall was built, nature died. This thing died. We see the plastic tree in the children's play area, a sad mockery of what once was. But the giant is insane. It was meant to guard a location, but that location is now an alien expanse of bizarre 1980s architecture. Yet there are trees there according to the records, enough of its former body to drive the entity mad, as anyone would if they woke up fused to a machine. In its madness, it continues to guard the location, taking the mall as its new sacred grove. Perhaps it doesn't know anything else. When Wyatt asks it what it wants, it can only show him flickering images of the corpses of animals and people. Maybe it shows them out of anger for what has been done to it. Maybe this is actually what it wants. A return to the natural world, but has lost the memory of it, and can only manifest it as death. In its madness, it confused the mall for how things should be, and regrown a version of it beneath the roots of its sacred tree in a backwards attempt to restore nature. It is both a manifestation of and part of its sacred grove, and can manipulate it as it wishes. It hunts any intruder who enters, while also acting out of rage and pain at what it has become. It is clearly toying with its victim both for its own satisfaction and an attempt to impart a lesson. Wyatt's death serves as a moral lesson. It isn't the giant that kills him, it is hostile architecture. The human is destroyed by the very same unnatural environment they created for themselves. The smell of cut grass, cornfields, and chlorophyll is specifically mentioned in both Part 1 and Part 2. A strange detail. That scent is a distress signal emitted by wounded plants. It is the natural world screaming. We just can't hear it. Dryads are shy. The creature freezes while being watched at first, until its anger overcomes this. The sound of thunder. Odd to hear it so far underground. It is the rage of the natural world. In the opening shot of Part 1, we see trees overlaid with what we now realize is the rattle of the thing's wheels. That shot is saying the trees and the giant are one and the same. Why is the giant so determined for Wyatt to fall to his death? It could kill him at any time, yet it appears to be herding him towards the escape exit, and retreats when it looks like he is going that way up the escalator. At the end, it turns to look at the ledge as if to say, "What are you waiting for?" before charging to force his hand. Why? Because the giant is acting out a ritual or perhaps a morality play, one which it may have done before. In this play, Wyatt represents humanity. The mall, as it has always done, represents commercialism, capitalism, etc. For the human to die by its own concrete creation collapsing beneath it is a metaphor for humans destroying their own environment. Wyatt states that he switched from studying botany to studying business. Assuming this whole thing is a morality play about rampant human commercialism, destroying nature that is being acted out by the giant, this makes him the perfect embodiment of mankind. And although this theory is reaching a little, I still think it does a good job explaining some of the lore behind this story. To sum it all up, The Oldest View tells a fascinating though puzzling story with many loose ends. While I've delved into just one possible explanation for this narrative, it's worth noting that there might be other interpretations that make more sense. Until we uncover the complete story, it's our imagination that must connect the dots in this amazing story. If you made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. These videos take a lot of time to make, and it really means a lot. Stay safe everyone, and I'll see you in a future video. Thanks for watching.